My name is Rebecca Vela. I am in 11th grade and I attend Academy Charter High School.
Nice. Welcome. Um, so, all right, what happened that made you realize that you needed our service?
So I was not doing the best at any PSAT practices. Nothing really seemed to help. I tried to do something, but I just never was so disciplined on it. And I was really disappointed in my PSAT score that I got sophomore year. It's not that it's bad. It's just not what I wanted for what I want to do and what I want to go into. I want to make sure that I have like the most opportunity that I have. Like I want to have that door wide open.
What was it that you like? I guess what do you want to study?
Biomedical research. Like schools for that are usually like I really want to go into a university that focuses on that topic, and those are usually universities like John Hopkins or Princeton, and that needs good SAT score at least.
So when you got your PSAT in 10th grade, do you remember the math score?
560.
Okay. And you were, just for me to kind of, get the whole picture at that time, were you surprised at the math score at all?
I wasn't really like familiarized with how like the scoring worked or like what was so good or what was so bad. But like after like calculating myself like what it is I would need to get a certain score to get bright futures, I'm like, oh no, I'm way off.
Okay. And how about like math in general at that time? Like would you say that like would you have considered yourself like a strong math student or not really?
I would consider myself just like an average math student. I can do well, but I do struggle a lot. It takes a lot to do well.
Are you stronger at reading?
Yeah, I would have said at the time that I was stronger at reading.
And what math class were you in?
Pre-calc.
Okay. I mean, looking at the stats there, if you're in pre-cal in 10th grade, that's
Yeah, I expected myself to do better being in pre-calc at 10th grade.
all right. So then you didn't, and you were like, all right.
Yeah.
And I guess did you try anything to improve at that point or not really?
Um, I tried some Khan Academy, didn't really work. I don't know. It just didn't, nothing clicked. When the questions came up, I'm like, oh, I know this, right? And I do it and it work. But for some reason, it just when it came to like the testing, it just didn't.
It just it didn't work. I like that. It just
It didn't.
didn't like, come on. Like,
Yeah, it didn't work. The universe didn't work for me.
was there anything in particular that you felt was, I don't know, frustrating you on the test or a big issue? Like was it just that you, like you said now, like it's stuff that looked familiar and you couldn't remember it, or
Yeah.
was there anything else?
No, yeah, it was a lot of stuff that looked familiar. I'm like, oh, I should know how to do this. But I couldn't like recall the concept or like how I should go about it. So it was kind of just like a bit of guessing and seeing what was right. Or like, I mean, the worst thing that happened was I plugged in points so there was an equation.
That's the best strategy out there for. I mean, that's the strategy that spans the test.
Yeah.
Plugging in points. That is that, and that's how I suspect, especially like the when people are like, oh, I'm a good test taker in math in particular. Usually they know that one strategy and that kind of carries them, and it helps, fill in for the forgetfulness of like the topics. So because 560 is not a bad PSAT math score. It's not. I understand it's not John Hopkins level, but it's not a bad score at all. And so, okay, so there you go. You just plugged your way through the test at the time, and you were forgetting a lot of things that you felt that if you were refreshed on it, you would have been good.
Yeah, but there was also definitely some like questions like, those questions that are usually harder. Um, or the free response that I had like no direction because I would look at multiple choice, I'd be like, okay, maybe I need to do something like this. But with the free response, it's just like all you. It's a lot of application and a bit more thinking.
That makes
And it's
sense.
like I don't know what I'm supposed to think.
Yeah, there's a lot less guidance. You don't have the choices to guide you. That's a good point. Okay. So then, I'm assuming at that point, at a certain point, you were like, all right. Like, or actually, what brought you to the idea of tutoring?
Um, well, actually, I have a friend who recommended piece of pie because her daughter, she got a great score on it. And I was like, oh cool. So I mean, I kind of just like, okay, let's try it out. We checked out the Instagram page, amazing results, and it's like, oh, that's kind of crazy, right? So I mean, we did it and it worked. And after the first mock exam we took, I really noticed the difference in how comfortable I was with the material and the score I received.
That's awesome. And but wait, but even before tutoring, right? So, what was your expectation of like the virtual group learning environment coming into the course?
Honestly, I was like not so psyched about virtual. I had no idea what it was gonna be like. I found that it was virtual like a month before or something. Oh, okay.
Surprise!
Like I thought like, oh, I was gonna go somewhere, someone would explain this to me. I'm like, okay. But no, because the thing is I'm really big on like having time set for it and like setting apart time for it. So like I go to school, I have 8 hours set apart for that. And I know that's what I'm gonna be doing for 8 hours. So I'm gonna focus on that for 8 hours. But at home, it's like you have a computer, you have a plant, you have your phone, you have a random painting, right? So there's just a lot more distractions. It doesn't feel like there's that time set apart. So I didn't really wasn't really looking forward to the virtual. Um, and then I found that it was also like 4.5 hours. So it was like, okay.
Every time people mention the time that the classes, like the length, it always gets like longer and longer somehow. Like people are like, "Oh yeah, it was like 5 hours, 6." I was like, "Where? It's 4 hours, people. Relax." Yeah, no, for sure. And so I'm assuming that also kind of got you like, "What?"
No, yeah, it was a surprise, just a little bit.
And I mean, so how would you describe your experience then?
Was not what I was expecting, but honestly, it wasn't bad. Like it was pretty nice getting like a refresh and everything, and also just like doing everything and practicing the problems and having things explained to you in a way that's more like um more with the students and you can ask questions, not a classroom with 25 kids. No, it's a smaller group. It really gives you a confidence boost when you get something right or you know what you're doing and that you have someone directly there that you know you can talk to for help.
Right. And I mean, in terms of it just being virtual, do you, like, what was the experience with that? I mean, because you came in kind of like, I don't know, was it okay or no? Or you still like, I don't like this.
It was okay for like the type of program that it was. It really wasn't that bad on virtual. Um, the packets, like the printing of the packets, was a lot. I kind of just got a paper and followed along on the screen, which also works. Um, but with the virtual, it was nice because you like you send your answers in the chat, and it was like you'd know if you got it right or not. Like sending the answers in the chat, I feel like is so much better than having being called on and saying the answer. That's kind of like
How would you compare it to COVID days?
so COVID days. Well, COVID was just bad. Like no one, they didn't know how to teach. That's the thing. My school just got thrown into it. They had no idea how to teach on virtual. We started with 3 hour school days and then progressed towards the normal like 7, 8 hours. But what is it? The whole team was like super familiarized with working virtually, of course, and that made it a lot easier. You know that they know what they're doing virtually.
Right. So it was completely different than what you experienced in COVID.
Yeah,
All right. Awesome. And I mean, so if another student asks, like, how would you describe the service overall?
it's very nice. It is a lot of things that you need to stay on top of. You do have to focus, definitely. Um, but it's a wonderful service. I'm really just really grateful for it. And that, you know, you have people that will sit down with you for 4 hours teaching you math because it's also their time too.
Was the 4 hour class worth it?
It was, no, definitely, it was worth it. I mean, it is a lot, but I mean, it gets into your long term memory.
And this is a good one. How are you able to manage your time I mean, it was summer, I guess, but still, right? So, what was? Did you have something that you did, and you still did do enrollment or no?
Yeah,
You were in, so you were in school, no?
yeah,
All right. Okay. So, how'd you manage your workload? What was your strategy to get the work done? Because that was key. We know it.
yeah. Oh my God, yes, definitely. I had two enrollment classes and I had a separate class as well. Um, I planned out my time. I got an agenda and I started using it and actually using it, and it like gave me so much clarity. Like it was life changing, literally life changing. So I just wrote down the times I had my classes. Um, I wrote down separately what I needed to do, and I planned out when I was going to do that with a little bit of extra room just in case I didn't understand something, it would take me a bit more time. So for example, oh, and also like spreading out the work evenly. So um usually we were assigned like 13 packets. 13? Yeah, like
More or
13.
less in the summer, yeah.
Yeah, 10 to 13. Um, because of my classes. I was my got cut down, so that was very helpful. But even with the 13 or the 7, just spread it out to how much you can according to your schedule. So like 3 or 2 per day, or 2 or 1 or 2 per day. Or you can knock out 4 1 day, take a rest day, knock out 4 the other day. You do it however you think works best for you. It's a little bit of experimenting. But having everything planned out, organizing and making sure you stick to it, it helps a lot. It like helps you calm down, doesn't give you any stress. You know that you have time to do it and you know you're doing it ahead of time.
Perfect. So yeah, basically spread the work out, but experiment in the
And
to
plan it
find a
out.
way, like a cadence
Yeah,
that
and
works.
definitely plan it out.
Okay. Awesome. Um, so I mean, ultimately, what result did we help you get? And like, what was your final score and the total improvement?
I got a 1470 on the SAT, and I went from a 560 in math to a 780, so 220-point improvement.
Nice. Real nice.
That's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I mean, you did the work. So it goes without saying. There's no way you can go up not even close to 200 points without putting in all the work.
Yeah.
So congrats for real, like excellent student. Um, if the whole class was a bunch of Rebecca Velas, it would be a very easy job for us. You did all the work. Like literally, I never had to say anything. I was like, she got it. Um, did you well, you're still you did that so early. That's crazy. You took the test August before junior year, right?
Like August, like 2 weeks after the school year started, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. The August test is what I meant. Are you gonna take the test again or no?
So by my school, I'm required to like they pay one for free, so I'm required to take that one. I talked to the admissions counselor, not the admissions counselor, the college counselor, and she recommended that I spread it out between 2 to 3 tries. So that was my first try. Um, my second try would be the one in the spring, which is the free one that they have. Um, I'm not sure if that's for this year or senior year, but I know for sure that also I should take. They're definitely recommending taking the August senior year one, just for like a final thing.
Just so you can get like a 1550 or something?
Yeah, super squared. That's it.
Nice. Your math is, I think, I don't know, unless you get an 800.
No, I think my math is fine. I don't have to worry about that. I'm just like relaxed right now
That's
about that.
awesome. And I was gonna say, like, did you get any scholarships for that? Like technically, I think
No, yeah, I got the bright futures. I got bright futures 100%. And by staying in Florida, it's completely paid off.
that's awesome. So um I don't know, any like general advice that you can give students on their SAT prep journey?
Um, put in the time because it definitely does work. I took a week off of vacation and I came back and I had a mock exam like 3 days later. I didn't do as well as I had been doing. It didn't go down dramatically either, but you can definitely see a difference in what doing work does and having it consistently in your brain and really just putting it in your short term, long term, whatever term memory that you have. I guess what I was doing, I wasn't really practicing, but math is a lot of practice and it is a lot of you can't really have a way, a system or method to perfect math because it's not just numbers and equations, it's a lot of application, learning what to do in a word problem or learning how to figure out what they're asking you. So having a lot of practice, having a lot of different exposures to different types of problems that they give you is something that I think is really important to have and to know how to work with. It doesn't only teach you math, like it also teaches you critical thinking through like how they teach you the work and the mock exams.
So you hire so you felt that even if it got like repetitive maybe, or
I mean,
just that do.
each problem is at least a little bit different. Maybe this one had just like real numbers, maybe this one had fractions, maybe this one had like imaginary numbers, maybe this one you had to relate to a graph. Um, but they were all tied to the same concept. You can know the concept, but also learning how to apply it in different situations depending on what they ask you is really important because on the SAT, they're not going to ask you just simply solve this or solve that. They're going to ask you questions that do include critical thinking and knowing how to apply those concepts in a variety of the same concept.
So it was important that you practice different, like it's like the same concept, but for every concept, like a bunch of different ones, like
Yeah,
nuanced variations.
yeah, definitely.
All right, awesome. So there you go. Practice nuanced variations because they're never going to put the same question twice on the test, and rarely do they just change the numbers. At least from the 12 tests that I've taken, I rarely see that. And from like the 20, I don't even know how many practice tests you took, Rebecca. It's like 20 plus, taking a lot. And I mean, I'm sure you could, testify to the fact that they're very different from one another. Would you say that?
No, yeah, definitely. They did relate to the topic that you were learning that week. There were some questions thrown in there from like previous weeks, I think. Um, but yeah, it definitely helped you like exercise that concept a bit more. But they were different, definitely.
This is not like some magical, like, I mean, a 220 point improvement is pretty magical in my opinion, but still, it's not, we don't just do it for you, and it is a lot of work.
I mean, it is a little magical, but I think the magical part of it is like when you realize that practicing makes a huge difference. Coming into this program, it really pushes you to practice and to do all those things. So, I mean, even if you're like not putting in as much effort, you're still gonna get something out of it, like for sure.
Right, yeah, maybe not 200, but at least even a 100, like I tell the kids, like that's awesome, you know. So, all right, awesome. This is great. I mean, is there anything else we should know?
Honestly, I would say it's better to take it in the summer and get it out of the way.
Summer before junior year.
Summer before junior year, so you're not stressing about it because it is a lot of stress. Like I see my friends like rushing around. Some of my friends don't even know what a 1470 means. They don't even know what a 1200 means. Like if I tell them that, oh yeah, if I like let's say I were just to tell them like, oh, I got like a 1580, we're imagining here, right? They're gonna be like, oh, cool, right? And they're like, is that like an A? And I'm like, okay. They just they don't know.
Super
So
lost.
I mean, after taking the mock exams, you can really see how like one question makes a difference, two questions can mean a huge difference. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I tell people that in general, one question is 10 points,
yeah.
more or less, but actually, it depends on where you're scoring. Like, what will happen is like when you're in the 500s, sometimes you need to get like two right to go up 10. It's more. it's because it's how like they distribute the scoring. Like they want most people to be like, it's a standard distribution for the stats heads. They want most students to score like in the middle, right? And then less on the outskirts. So it's sometimes in the middle, you need like two correct to go up 10. But as you start, from like I would say 580 to 700, it's every other question you get right, you go up 10 more points. And then the craziness is in the 700s. And that's where sometimes when you get one right, you go up 20 points. So that's where it's like, oh no, you missed two. That's like a 40-point difference sometimes, which is
Yeah.
kind of insane.
Yeah, but it really shows you like another thing. It shows you how the SAT works. That's like another thing that I think is really great about the program. It is set up like an SAT, like the mock exams, obviously, and the tutoring sessions, 4 hours, and the 15-minute break. It's a really good simulation of what you're expected to do. So when you go in there, it honestly didn't feel that bad. One, because you're a bit nervous or excited or both. Two,
Adrenaline.
you have some experience spending 4 hours in a chair or like going to get a snack. They let us go get snacks.
That's the point. I mean, that was the logic. That was the logic. So I'm glad you benefited from that and didn't just suffer. There's a little suffering, but it is what it is.
No, but
Um,
I mean there was a little bit of suffering, but like after seeing like after the first mock exam that it really worked. It was just for like gratefulness and appreciative of the program and just like you understand that everything that you're doing is it's going to benefit you and it does like show results. You do reap what you sow. So it wasn't necessarily suffering at that point. It was just making sure that you're working hard to get to where you want to be.
I think that sums it up right there. I like that. That'll be it, guys. Um, all right, we're done here. That was the greatest finish ever. Peace out.